Hey everyone, the second unit on the X banner, actually it's a side banner, but it's Rain Final Fantasy 1 Form. He's nothing too special, he's pretty much in the same vein as Laswell, Final Fantasy 4 I believe, the cosplay version of his. So without further ado, let's get started. Rain is actually a brave shifted unit, unlike Van this week. So in his base form, Rain is a Fire LB chainer, and in his brave shift, he is a chainer of hits plus one finishing move at the end, making him pretty much the same as all the latest units in terms of limit bursting. So I have picked out these two abilities here as examples. We have Beast Breaker Plus, which ironically, I find this rather funny. And I don't know what Alum was thinking, but I find it super funny that Rain Neo Vision has the very same ability as an unlock at level 110, whereas Rain Cosplay has this as an EX plus 2 unlock. It's absolutely the same ability, 5 turn cooldown, available turn 1, 100% beast killer, physical, magical, and 100% LB boost. It's literally the same ability that the Neo Vision Rain from 2.5 years ago had at baseline, whereas he has to unlock it via EX levels. I find that so irritating. I have no clue why they even would do this to a unit that is inherently useless anyway. Thumbs up, Alum. That's a power move if I've ever seen one. Like the worst possible way of doing EX level unlocks. That's just, I think it really requires a big to come up with something like this. But here we are. And then there is Magma Saber, or probably Blaze Saber it's going to be called. I don't know, I'm just reading the Japanese one, and the Japanese signs, the Japanese katakana, they just read Magma Saber. So probably not Magma Saber on the English version. We'll see that when you see the video, because I'm recording this basically a day beforehand, before it's out. Or actually 2 days. Today's Thursday. Anyway, it's rather unique in that it's a Fire-Earth hybrid attack, 550x damage to single enemy, and it's another source of modifier increase for his limit burst. He has 2 of those, and this one is spammable, which I find interesting. I like the concept of it, and I honestly wish more units had something like this, because it makes it a little bit easier to do. And I like a spammable modifier increase for limit bursts. It's a cool concept. I'd love to see if they continue with this. They are not, spoiler, but I wish this was a more common thing, I'll be honest, yeah. So let's check out more abilities of his. Sadly speaking, and you can already see this, the left-hand side is rather similar to the right-hand side, or the other way around. And left-hand side is base form, mostly, and right-hand side is mostly brave shift. But as you can see, base form and brave shift, they're virtually identical. So this could have been an SLB unit for all that I care, because there's no difference between the two forms other than the limit burst, but you could have just put an SLB onto this and it wouldn't matter for that matter. But anyway, more of the same from the old Neo Vision Rain. It's just that some abilities are hitting a little bit stronger, but honestly, like the first ability, 30x baseline hit with 50% defense ignore, at 60x absolute Murph equity at that chaining family. Nobody uses absolute Murph equity at all anymore. Still 60x modifier ability, it's just bad. 90% damage mitigation, magic of all things, so not even general or physical. And yeah, I guess what we can give to him is that he has a spammable 85% on stat break, which Van, for example, is lacking, even though Van is the breaker on this banner. So yeah, and 120 Imperial and fire. The thing I do want to point out is his passive, and that is rather funny. It reads Tatakao no Gokui, meaning fighting secret, and it's similar to, say, what's his name, Riser, in that can store attack up to 10, up to 1000, and it applies to the next normal attack. Now 1000, I'm not quite sure. I'm never using Riser, so I don't know whether Riser is 1000 attack or 10,000%. But honestly, Rain has such low base attack that it probably won't matter all too much. But I haven't mathed this out. I'm not a fan of attack store and then counter attacking, so someone else might do the math. I just went ahead and calculated the limit bursts, so maybe this is worth it. I don't know. I personally don't care, because I find these counter strategies, while Alan Wanderer does a fantastic job of coming up with crazy strats, especially in Clash of Worlds, I personally don't like it. But this might be an option. But then again, I'd rather use Riser if push comes to shove, because Riser is a better unit than Rain, for that matter. And the other hand of the abilities, there isn't really much to talk about. Same old, same old. EX plus 3 sees a 500 static attack. And the passive abilities, I'd like to point out he has 5x cap, as well as 300% equipment through double hand attack. 100%, no, 200, yeah, he has 300, but he gains 100% all stats, attack, spirit, defense, magic, when he's wearing a greatsword. So you really should put you really should give him a greatsword, unless you have other means of getting to 400% attack, which might be rather hard to do on him if you're not using a greatsword. So use a greatsword. We have plenty good ones of those. Let's check out the limit bursts. Base form limit burst, 130% fire and peril, 150x fire, and after all that's done, he increases his LB modifier by 50x for 3 turns, and that's the kicker here. This one is 3 turns, which is very interesting, because you can stack this up with his other ability in the Brave Shift, meaning you have a total of 200x increase from both. Why 200? Well, let's check out the Brave Shifted LB. Still 130 in peril to fire, 150% physical increase to self against beasts. And here it is. It is a 2-part LB, which is rather common these days. First portion is 20x fire physical against beasts to one enemy. Second portion is a fire physical 200x. So because both of these modifier increases do not take into account any racial modifiers, they apply to both. And that's really cool, and it really helps him out getting a very high modifier in general, meaning you have that 250x multiplied by 2, because 2 hits. You have the other ability that is spammable, which is another 50x multiplied by 2, meaning 2 plus the 200x you already have. It's 400x, and you add the 20x to this, as well as, and don't forget about this, Sovi's modifier amplification by 20x. It does not apply to the beast killing stuff, but it still applies to the other portion, which is then 20x. So all in all, when you're fighting a beast, Rain has a 440x modifier, and if he's not, it's just 421. So close to 420, but we're not blazing it. So all in all, that seems pretty solid in terms of modifiers, but the sad part is he has a very low base attack, and he has no static gearing, so gearing and all in all is rather bad on him. He won't reach high numbers at all. So let's check out TMR, STMR Vision card. TMR, all stats, attack, defense, magic, and spirit, true single wield 75%, and it also requires you to wear a greatsword for this. Sadly, this should have been, or sadly this isn't 100%, this would have instantly capped his true double hand attack. It doesn't, it's a Peter in my opinion. You have to get the last 25% elsewhere, and in that case, just use a proper material. The Super Master is attackers only, much like last world's was magic units only. And this one is a 200% LB fill rate and 100% LB damage. It's a good Super Master, don't get me wrong, but we do have All You Need Is Strength from the Armory tickets, which if you haven't got it yet, you may consider pulling on the van banner for that additional Armory ticket. It has the van banner. Yeah, I believe the van banner has the Armory ticket. So you should grab that one from it if you do want to go for it. I would understand skipping van or the banner entirely because it's not very enticing. But if you haven't grabbed All You Need Is Strength yet, you should get it. Because it's really, really good. But still, nonetheless, this is a pretty good STMR. 100% LB. That's nice if you can slot it in that is. The vision card, on the other hand, it's the same vision card Rain had 2 years ago or 2.5 years ago. So 100 static, 100 attack, 20% HP defense with a great sword, 20% defense again with a great sword, and at level 10, male units only, 20% HP and defense. Not the best, it's trash, we don't need it. Let's move on to the damage comparisons, etc. So as always, read this through at your own pace, pause the video if you need to. We're moving along to the build. So this is a fairly standard build. It's against Aquatic and a Demon as well as Beast. He caps out Beast easily. He has that Beast portion I always calculate for that ideal case, meaning we have Beast, we have Aquatic, and we have a Demon. No, not Demon, sorry, Dragon. That's why I'm having Skies STMR. Aquatic Dragon is the off type killer because he has Demon Killer innately. That's why. So let's check out the comparison, and as we can see, he isn't really that high up. I didn't include Clash of Wills, that would dilute the whole screenshot here. It's only filtered for dark vision units, and as you can see, he's pretty much middle of the pack. Still, I mean, he's top 20. Certainly not top 10, as you can see. And if he's not facing a beast, the lower one shouldn't state beast. It's on my sheet when you're watching this video. So 421x, yeah, it's not that much. So all in all, if he's facing a beast, he's 65.38% of Chizuru's damage. And if he's not facing a beast, he's 59.65% of Chizuru's damage, which isn't that good at all. And considering he doesn't do much at all, he's a rather skippable unit. Reasons for that, like I mentioned, low base attack as well as low attack in general. Don't do him any favors despite high modifiers. Also has slight gearing issues versus non-innate dual races. So with all that in mind, it's not really surprising that he is a 2 out of 10 unit. Very, very limited use, virtually none, honestly. So the only good thing about him is the STMR, 100% LB is pretty good, and it's rather uncommon for physical DPS units. But the bad side of things, low damage, less than 60% biased. Yes, I just stated otherwise, but that's versus ideal type. And like I mentioned, my sheet only considers non-ideal or worst case scenarios. Meaning in that case, he's less than 60% of Chizuru, and that means he gets penalized for it. Super Trashy Vision card, a former level 110 ability is now sold as EX plus 2 unlock. I didn't deduct a point for this. I probably had all the good reasons to do it, but I didn't want to be that unfair to him. Nonetheless, low imperils, no weapon imperil, and no party support are further arguments to hopefully make clear that he isn't the best unit of all time. Far from it even. And that's the reason why he got a 2 out of 10. Rain, Final Fantasy 1 form has no place in the meta at all. This kit is outdated, very low base stat, translate into low general stats, even at full buffs, so yeah. But, and I don't know about you guys, but when I saw that all you need is strength materia on the armory shop, I immediately got it. And if you're in dire need of his STMR because you're lacking other LB materials or vision cards, Knights of Grandshot vision card is excellent, for example. There's Esther's vision card, but those are premium units. I would understand if you don't have those. So if you're in dire need, I would firstly suggest probably going for Van's banner and the armory ticket to grab all you need with strength. But if you already have, then maybe the 19.5k aren't the worst investment. But then again, it just doesn't feel worth it because the unit isn't really good at all. So I wouldn't do that to yourself and your Lapis stash, because we're due for many collaborations. There's the War of Divisions collab coming. There's Final Fantasy X banners coming. There is the Nier collaboration coming. We have super strong global units coming. Well, assuming they follow the footsteps of Chizuru, obviously. So there is a lot of things to save for, and I wouldn't waste my Lapis on a 100% LB material, even though it sounds good on paper. You will eventually off-banner Rain anyway. So don't do this stash. And with that, we're done for today's review. Thank you all for watching. Have a wonderful rest of the Sunday evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you're from. And we'll see each other on Thursday. Bye bye.